I got crazy excitement right now. I got my blood pressure's up to there. I'm full throttle. I'm full throttle. But first, let me take a nice sip of a Mountain Dew, a refreshing Mountain Dew. Green. Wow, that was yum. All right. I got a couple things I just want to talk about, and it all revolves around my excitement for next year. That's what this comes down to. You may have seen this. I made a little cheat sheet. I made a little preparation sheet for this video. That's how freaking pumped I am, right? 2020 NBA is done. Thank God. It was the weirdest, just what the hell is going on all year? I mean, COVID and just the bubble and no home court advantage, playoff basketball. I mean, I just couldn't stomach to watch it. The finals just wasn't what it used to be, and it's not the team's fault. I think it would have been awesome. I think it would have been a great finals if you actually go down to Miami, play in Miami, you actually go to LA and play on LA, but it was just the bubble and COVID and, the world ending just made it not as fun as it could be. So, right off the bat, I'm excited that I hope 2021 is just different. I hope we can get some type of normalcy back in the game because the game misses it. And I would also like to say, Adam Silver, hell of a job, my man. Not a single positive case in the bubble. That's how it's done. Roger Goodell should start taking notes. Jesus, the Titans are going to play like 3 games all year. But I made a little list of just what I'm excited for, And what I'm most excited for, dude, is just the parity. The parity that the NBA is in right now. Next year is going to be just like this year. I mean, they didn't really know who was going to win this year. I mean, LA had some, people who thought they were going to be there, but like Vegas odds, I'm pretty sure they were like 3 or 4 preseason to win the NBA Finals. Like, yeah, they have AD and LeBron, but their lack of depth is what I thought personally was going to be their downfall. I thought that was going to be the reason why they didn't win it. I thought the Clippers were going to win the championship. As for most people, I would assume. I thought Milwaukee was going to do better. But just there is so much talent. There's so much parity in the NBA right now. It's beautiful. For being an NBA fan for the last 15 years, there hasn't been that. There's been the heat of like consistent every single year. Like you're bound to see him. Before that, San Antonio and LA, they were bound to see him. After Miami, it was Golden State, and that was just not fun. That wasn't fun as an NBA fan. You knew it was going to be Golden State and whoever, whether it was Cleveland or whatever team would come out. And it was just like, oh my God. It's not fun. It's not fun when you know the 2 outcomes or the outcome by the end of the year. But this year wasn't like that. This year was not like that. The Clippers got bounced in round 2. Look at the Denver Nuggets. Jamal Murray, Bubble Murray out of nowhere, just balling like he's a superstar. That's refreshing as an NBA fan. That's so refreshing to watch this young team be good. Come back from 3-1 twice in a playoff. That's parity. That's what the NBA is wanted for the last 20 years, and they haven't had. That's parity. That's beautiful. The NBA is in the best place I've ever seen it right now. There's so many contenders for next year. Just to list some of them, the Lakers, obviously. I mean, AD's a free agent this year, but he's going to resign. I mean, he's going to resign. You would be an idiot if he didn't. The Clippers, again. The Clippers are in like a do-or-die situation next year. Like a very unique situation the Clippers are in. Like I see the Clippers like either winning a championship next year and like being really good, or losing Kawhi, losing Paul George. I don't know if Montrezl Harrell's going to resign this year. They have no draft picks because of Paul George. Like I see the Clippers possibly going into that Brooklyn Nets era of trading trading all their first rounders away and just being like brutal for like 6-7 years of just like god awful basketball, and they can't even like get their picks because they're all traded. So it's like OKC just fleeced them. But the Clippers have one more year to make it, make a case for themselves. So I see that, they're definitely a contender. I think they'll be a favorite for a lot of people again. Depends on what coach they sign. I think they fired Doc Rivers way too early. I mean, I think he could have done a better job, but I don't think it was his fault. Who else? Denver. Man, if playoff Jamal Murray is what we're going to expect from Jamal Murray, they are going to be elite. Jokic is a stud. I hate the guy because he's, like the better center than Embiid, and I like Embiid to be the best center. But Jokic is a stud, and he steps his game up in the playoffs, which is incredible. The dude's a monster, and he's like Magic Johnson with a vision. Like he's a top 3 passer in the NBA, and he's 7 feet tall, and he lost weight. He can run up the court. Embiid should give him a call, ask for some notes or some shit because, God. Anyway, Jokic, Jamal Murray, if Jamal Murray can retain the level of play that he's been at for the last, Bubble Murray, basically, because he was unreal. Unreal. The playoff series against Utah was one of the best playoff series I've ever seen in my life. Him and Donovan Mitchell were just dropping 50 a game each. Like, how entertaining is that? That's like mid-2000s Kobe Bryant basketball, and I love it. I love it. And I loved watching it. And it's so entertaining. And Michael Porter Jr. is he's a bona fide future superstar. He can't play defense like at all. Like his defensive awareness and IQ is like CYO level basketball. But I mean, he balls, dude. His shot is crazy. He's a crazy shot creator. And he's in a great situation where I think he's going to be a leading scorer for them. I mean, he has a possibility to be 20 points a game next year. I don't see it being far-fetched saying that. I really don't. Michael Porter Jr. is a crazy third option for a team. It's unbelievable. If they can re-sign Jeremy Grant, I don't think they will, but if they can, that's huge because he is the definition of a glue guy for a winning team. He's the definition of a glue guy, and he stepped his game up like crazy in this bubble. The whole Denver team did. Gary Harris too. I mean, if he can stay healthy, he's a good 3-and-D guy. I think he's underwhelmed in his career, but he played really well. He had that game-winning steal against the Jazz. The Nuggets are scary. They're so scary. And Monte Morris, I guess. One of my favorite players in the league. I think he's the most underrated backup in the game. I think he's a top 5 backup point guard, easy. He is a floor general. He can score, play defense. He's just such a good guy off the bench. That's exactly what the Sixers are missing. The Nuggets are scary. The Nuggets are really scary. I think they're going to be a top 2 team in the West next year. Oh, wait. The Golden State Warriors, dude? Yeah, remember them? They're back. I hate it, but they're back. I mean, any team with Klay Thompson and Steph Curry on the same team, with Draymond Green, I guess, they're going to be good. Whether they're going to be a championship winning team, I don't know, but they don't have any depth. But they have Steph Curry and Klay Thompson, and those two can win games by themselves. So, I mean, it's the best backcourt in the NBA. So, I mean, got to say Golden State. We got, Boston, Miami. Obviously you got to say Miami. Miami just, went to the finals. they just went to the finals with a crazy deep team. I mean, they're the East version of Denver to me. Bam Adebayo is a great passer. I mean, he's way more athletic than Jokic. He's not as good a scorer, but he's younger. I mean, they're not really comparable players, but kind of, they maybe a little bit. But Miami is just so good, especially with free agency coming up. It's going to be fun. They're a really good team. I texted my buddy, big Miami Heat fan. I was giving him crap all year, but I was like, dude, I can't even hate because you guys are in such good position. It reminds me of the Sixers way back in the day, and it was better than the Sixers because the Sixers have no championship experience. Boston, I still think Boston's better than Miami. I think they would have given them a better series. But Jaylen Brown, Jason Tatum, Kemba Walker, I think if they get a good 5, maybe trade for I don't know, not Rudy Gobert, but I could see it. Just get a good 5 that can be athletic, defend, not need to score as much. Maybe stretch the 4, so maybe not really Rudy Gobert, but I think Boston's obviously going to be back. Jason Tatum has gotten better every year, so has Jaylen Brown, so it's only a matter of time until they are finals. I think they're a contender. And then Milwaukee, of course, any team with Giannis, championship contender, and Philly. And really, if Philly is really a contender, I would like to think so. I think Doc Rivers has got a lot of work ahead of him. I think this offseason has a lot of work ahead of it that we need to do. But Doc Rivers brought the best out of Tobias Harris when Tobias Harris was a 20-point scorer for the Clippers. And maybe that is the secret weapon. Maybe Tobias Harris just being the best version of himself can help elevate the Sixers to that next level. I think, there's so many question marks with the team that I don't even want to get into it right now. So, which is funny because my next thing is my transition into the Sixers. I'm just excited, dude. I love the offseason, especially as a Philly fan, because they always make moves. You know what I mean? And I think we have a lot of moves ahead of us. I think we're going to keep Tobias. I think we keep, obviously, Ben and Joel, I think. But the Horford idea, like the whole Horford thing, man, I want to see the Sixers trade Al Horford and a first rounder, like our 21st pick, for Buddy Hield more than anything in this world. And I think the Sixers low-key kind of think about it. I think Buddy Hield wants to come to Philadelphia. I think he's made that kind of obvious on social media. Buddy Hield is just such a perfect fit, and I would cry tears of happiness if the Sixers could manage to get him. And I just saw a picture of Joe Johnson at 39. Like, he's my favorite player ever. I just saw Joe Johnson, a picture of him 39, shirtless, and dude, he was freaking ripped out of his mind. Bring him on board. We got Joe Johnson and Buddy Hield on the same team, the same Sixers team for me. That's immediately my favorite team ever. I don't care. So that's what I want. But I mean, you got the draft coming up, which clearly is my favorite thing as a Sixers fan. Because I mean, I was growing up, the Sixers would win a game a year, and we would have the number one pick, and that was the only thing you could really look forward to, was that. And that's what I'm excited. I love the draft. Even if the draft isn't just like a bunch of big names, like, I'm just excited. You know, I'm really excited to see what happens trades-wise, pick-wise, who moves up, who moves down, what big names get dished. I don't think Minnesota stays at number one. I think Minnesota trades the pick because of how bad they are historically at drafting. Jarrett Culver was a terrible pick. And they did that last year. They basically already have given up on the kid. And I think they're going to be scared with this number one pick that they're going to trade it. And who's going to take it? I've seen rumors that the Sixers would take it, and I would freak out. That would just be such a Jerry Colangelo move, or Brian Colangelo move, whatever dude we had. I think we had Brian. They both suck, whatever. But that would just be such a Colangelo move to move up and get the number one pick on a guy who I just don't think is going to be an elite superstar. I think Anthony Edwards is really good. I think he is Donovan Mitchell potential, but I don't see him as a number one on any team in his career ever. Like, I see Donovan Mitchell. I don't think Donovan Mitchell is a number one. I think it would be an elite number two, but he just doesn't do enough for me. He's a great scorer, yeah. Anthony Edwards is a great scorer, yeah, but I just don't see him as a franchise-changing piece. LaMelo Ball, I think, is the most complete player in the draft. But obviously there's a lot of question marks with him. I think I would probably take LaMelo with the number one pick. Maybe. I mean, it's either LaMelo or Anthony Edwards, and I think LaMelo Ball can be a really good player, really, really good player, but I don't see him as a franchise-changing piece. I think James Wiseman's great, but he's not. His mid-range jump shot is questionable, let alone his three-point range, and that's just, dude, it's a different game now. I think he's a great interior defender, and I think he's athletic as all hell, but, dude, you need to shoot the ball. You need to shoot the ball. As a Sixers fan, I am telling you, you need to shoot the ball. There's only so much you can do if you can't shoot the ball. And cool, you can have a DeAndre Jordan career for the rest of your life, which is good. I probably has been an all-star, but that's not number 3 pick worthy, number 2 pick worthy of talent. I like Obi Toppin. I think he's a crazy athlete. I think he is extremely similar to John Collins. So I like him. I think he has upside. I just love him because he's a freaking athlete, and he is a monster. I mean, he is. And I like the dude. I think he's a winner. I think he's good, but I still don't see him top 5 talent. So I just don't see this draft as being like that. But I'm always interested. I love the draft. I love late picks. I love lottery. The draft is the most interesting thing in sports for me. So I will be staying tuned to that like crazy. And then, of course, last but not least, there's free agency. And this free agency is going to be very impactful, which is ironic because there are not many stars. I don't really think there are any stars. Anthony Davis and Brandon Ingram, of course, but I think they're going to both stay on their teams respectively. You got Fred VanVleet, which I don't think stays in Toronto. That's why I didn't name Toronto a contender. Granted, I mean, they'll probably contend because Nick Nurse he's the LeBron James of coaches. But I don't see Fred VanVleet staying. I see him going to like a bad team that just wants to overpay because they refuse to accept the fact that they're a bad team, like the New York Knicks. Because the Knicks are so stupid. They're a terrible organization. And I see the Knicks giving VanVleet an overpriced contract. I see DeMar DeRozan's another one. DeMar DeRozan is not going to, I don't think he's going to opt in on his player option to stay in San Antonio. I think he hates playing there. I could see him in the perfect fit of the Orlando Magic. Not perfect as in good for either of them, but it's perfect that it's bad for the both of them. And I see them both just one of those like toxic relationships, you know, that like they love being in it, but it's like it drives them crazy, and everyone around them is like, oh my god, these people are miserable, but like they're miserable together and they're happy that they're miserable together. That's DeMar DeRozan and the Orlando Magic. The Orlando Magic have been the 8th seed for the last 37 years. All they want to do is just be mediocre. They've made that like very, very clear, right? And they need a shot creator. They need a shot creating 2 or 3. And they have Terrence Ross, but Terrence Ross isn't a starter on a playoff team. Vucevic needs help, right? And for some reason, I think Orlando is refusing to rebuild, and they're going to sign DeMar DeRozan. DeMar DeRozan's going to play for the Orlando Magic in 2021. I guarantee it. And he's just going to be the primary ball scorer, is exactly what he wants. And that's what Orlando needs. But it doesn't make any sense. It's stupid. Like, they both just need to, they're going to overpay for him. You know it's going to happen. It's just, ugly. And then, last but not least, we got Montrezl. I don't think Montrezl Harrell stays in LA. I think he's going to get a big contract elsewhere. Where to? I have no idea. No idea. I don't know. Honestly, I really don't know. I could see maybe Charlotte. I think that could be a cool fit. Whether or not they have the money, I don't know. Or if they can even, or if they're willing to pay, I have no idea. That's just off the dome. I think Charlotte would be a pretty good fit. Then you got Danilo Gallinari, who I would just, please, Philadelphia, if you could manage to somehow sign him, wow, that would be perfect. Doesn't demand the ball all the time to score. He's an unbelievable three-point shooter. He's a great off the catch. He can even shoot off the dribble. He can come off the bench. He is a completely good player. And he has injury problems, so that's literally Philadelphia in a nutshell. He'll give you good shooting, and I wish Philadelphia could get him. I don't think he will. I don't think there's any way we can get him, but just the imagination. Last but not least, Goran Dragic. See, this is where I think Miami gets in trouble, because I don't think Dragic stays. I don't think they re-sign him. I think he goes elsewhere. Whether or not that's going to really affect Miami long term, that's yet to be seen. But I don't think he stays. And I think he's a good player. I think he's underrated. Him getting hurt in the finals didn't let a lot of people see how good he is. He was the leading scorer for Miami the whole playoff run. Until, his foot died. So it is just a lot to be excited about. I'm running like 18-minute video right now, so all 3 of you people watching and completing watching it, appreciate it. Like the video, share the video, argue with me about the video. I'm just excited, man. 2020 basketball is done. It felt like an eternity. It was just overly long. All the COVID stuff, I'm excited for a fresh start, and that's what 2020 and 2021 is. And let's go Sixers.